Ready?
We're asking the hard-hitting questions today. Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Furniss.
Every week we listen to great video game music from all the generations and all consoles. We find great music and we enjoy it.
Well, we try to enjoy it, but we typically end up enjoying it. It's a weird balance of sifting through the what to find the
Yeah.
And that's what we hope to pass on to you guys. Though, heaven forbid we have an episode like, here's all the music that didn't make the cut. The episode.
We have some of those.
We've never had an episode
Where I'm like,
specifically.
here's some, specifically like backups, tracks.
I'm not even talking about backup. I'm saying you listen to an OST for a game, you get to a track, and your ears bleed, and you're just not feeling it. Next track, please.
Oh, I see.
Like, I feel like that would be a harder show or a harder episode to do.
I don't think I would do that show.
Well, that's an interesting thing. Like, think about this for a second.
If I don't want to listen to it, and you don't want to listen to it.
But that's what would make it an interesting experiment for the show. It's the thought of, well, there's always the idea that there's no truly just uniformly bad track.
Yeah,
there's no track that you could play that every single person will hate. Please don't try to prove me wrong. But
what we could do is find music that I normally wouldn't gravitate towards, and then try to find something.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like, that's the idea.
I like about it. Yeah, okay.
Because honestly, I would seriously just fly up like, I don't know if I like this track. I mean, it could be for any number of reasons, but just like, this track didn't quite sing to me.
It's true. I mean,
but I'm curious to hear if you or the listeners would like it instead. It's an interesting little experiment to play because feedback would be people saying, Pernell ain't like that track, but you know what? That's one of my favorite tracks in the game. What do you not like about it? And that's kind of part of the humor in it all.
I would say about 50% of the show I don't like.
Hope is your 50%, because my 50% is awesome. Nothing but the best beats from Planet Heat.
Let's change the subject. Pernell, potato chips. You had some important insights.
Well,
you had some opinions. You have an opinion about spicy potato chips.
Well, it's not so much. Well, I guess it is kind of. But I felt a little guilty of eating my usual creamy dill pickle hers after coming back from the gym. I just felt like I wanted potato chips. And then I was talking to Rob about it, and it was a funny thought where I was like, I always gravitate towards creamy dill pickle chips now, but my previous favorite was the red hot chips.
Yeah.
But I won't, or rather I will if that's the only option, but I do not want non-ripple. It has to be ripple, hot chips, because I like to bite them ripple by ripple.
Oh, I see. You like to... Oh, it's like an Oreo where like you kind of eat bit by bit, right?
Yeah, there's no wrong way to eat a rich chip.
Oh, interesting. I thought like you liked it more because like it held more flavor crystals.
Oh, no. Because when it comes to chips, I could just as well be happy taking the bag and smashing it with a hammer than eating all the dust.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. It's how you eat it.
Yeah. I'm even one of those people that will take a bag of chips, crush them up, and then like roll some chicken in it and then fry it. And like, there's my meal.
Yeah, that's what I think our listeners can learn about this show. That you're never too old to learn something new about your friends.
Like how much they love consuming potato chip dust.
How they like to consume potato chip dust. That's all I'm saying.
There's no wrong way to eat potato chip dust.
I like barbecue potato chips, but not if they're flat. I don't know what it is. It's like... It's too dry.
By being flat, they're dry?
Yeah, it's like just dust.
Flat chips are dry.
Yeah. They're all dry. I grant you that.
Okay, how about it's like, so where are you telling me that a chip that has a slight bump is not dry, is moist?
I'm telling you, there's something scientific about having ridges in a potato chip that it activates your salivary glands. It hits your tongue, and it like scrapes your tongue in the inside of your mouth.
That sounds like a problem, actually.
And you immediately start to salivate. And that activates all of the taste buds. And then all of that flavor gets in your mouth. And then you're done the whole bag and you're wondering what happened.
That
and then
sounds
you
like
think about the choices that you made in your life.
Sounds more like you said it scrapes your mouth and then you get an infection because you're eating food that's like tearing holes in your skin inside your mouth. What kind of potato chips, the metallic potatoes are you eating there, sir? I don't even know. Don't want to know.
This is a good segue into our topic for today.
It kind of is.
Kind of is.
It's a topic that seems odd, but it resonates deep with me. And I was like, Rob, we gotta do this topic.
Yeah.
We gotta do this topic. And Rob was like, sure.
So we should first start off with you donate blood regularly
All the time.
because you have a rare type of. Well, you have the blood that's donatable to everybody, right?
And in black people, it is rare. It's
Oh.
like 4% of the black population have it.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Huh.
I looked it up because it's weird. I had this thought, everyone wants to feel special, Everybody has that desire to feel a little special.
The superpower.
Superpower.
You get like something unique.
The super blood donor, I don't know.
Super blood.
And when it came up to the point where I started donating regularly, I started to realize how frequently they were like, hey, we need you to come in and donate. We really need your blood type. And I started looking it up. I was like, what is this, a rare blood type or something? And it turns out that, of course, yes, O negative is the most needed blood type because anyone can use it. Like, literally anybody. But people like me can only use my blood type, which is a rough concept in and of itself. So, it's a very needed blood type. But surprisingly, the rarest, which I was hoping was O negative, is actually like AB positive or something, which is absurdly rare, but no one needs the blood. It's like a blood type that's only needed by like other AB positives or something weird like that. So... it's the rarest blood type, but it's the least useful blood type.
Right.
But O negative is rare-ish, but everybody wants it. It's a delicious beverage. I don't know for the body. I got nothing.
But we all bleed.
But it's only some of us.
But only
O negative.
O negative.
Like the band.
Interesting. So we thought that to maybe raise awareness of blood donation and the needs of hospital. No, it's not. We're not trying to bring awareness to people who are listening to video game music podcasts. We wanted to do a whole episode about blood.
Pretty much.
Just blood.
Just blood.
Music about blood, bloody games, bloody roar. I should have picked bloody roar.
Don't worry. Some say other individual may have pulled a little bloody roar out of his own.
Is it the half of the show that I hate?
What? The half where Purdell picks tracks you didn't choose? That's 50% of the show, Rob.
No, I'm not saying what half. That being, come on. Put words in my mouth. Don't put 50% of the words in my mouth.
Too late.
Oh, boy. So you came over and I was playing Enter the Gungeon.
No, you weren't.
I just finished playing Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, you were playing 20XX.
I had such a good run. Sometimes I have such a great run that I get to the fourth boss and I blank out. Like I'm totally stocked up on weapons and health and items, and I'm super ready to go. And it's the boss. There's two bosses on the fourth floor, and it's the boss that I can take on. I can no-hit this boss. It's the Wallmonger.
Okay.
And I just blank out. My brain just.
Well, we're talking about Gungeon still.
Yeah, Gungeon.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I can no-hit the fourth boss, this one boss, and my brain just blanked out. And I get hit like a billion times. And I still beat it, but now I'm on the fifth stage, which is incredibly difficult.
With no health.
And very long, and I can't get hit once. And I'm like,
reactivate your Zen.
That kills me, because it's like I had everything set up. I had the master round, so I had extra health. I had all these great weapons and stuff.
I wish I could say that, because you're like hyper-focused on this game. Right now, I'm like drowning in games. I can't hyper-focus on anything.
I know. I need to sit down and like actually get into some new stuff, but like I'm not making enough time for it. So I'll sit down and do that.
Man.
Okay, so it came up on our Facebook group, Rhythm and Pixels Chat, and you can join there, and we'll accept you because we're cool like that. People were talking about games that I will play, or I should be playing, or I could be playing and enjoy. And they said do a Team Ico day.
No, I was dead.
Daniel. Great idea. The Last Guardian. I talked about it last week, how I'm afraid to try it because I'm going to cry my eyes out. But that is the perfect game to play because it's going to be emotional. And like the other last two Team Ico games, I'm going to love playing that with Christy.
There you go.
We're going to have a great time. Me and my wife sitting down playing this game. I'm going to do it.
And it'll be a different game.
I know.
I can't emphasize that enough.
Granted, it's not one that came out recently.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Just has to be different.
All right, so that's enough of me. Top of the show, whatever. We'll keep talking during the show. But blood, right?
Yes.
I hate blood. Am I right?
That's what everybody talks about.
Everyone's talking about it, but no one's doing anything about it. Blood.
Well, I don't want anyone to do anything about it. That sounds like a dangerous game.
Well, what's dangerous is it's the odd numbered episode.
Know what that means?
Purnell brings some danger.
Let me bring the cross-eyed banter.
I have this Wikipedia page open to the UPN television network because we just talked about hanging with Mr. Cooper for about 30 minutes before the show.
Because the show is worth 30 minutes of anyone's time.
I'm going to close that window. All right, Purnell, what you got?
All right. My first track is a tune that Dawn Lewis herself would absolutely approve of.
Okay.
This is from the game Dragon Star Varmir. And the track title is called, I believe it's called like Black Witch or Witch Negra. And it's composed by Ohyama of Ziz Studio, Kaori, Tsutsui, and Teisena. You were just listening to Black Witch from the game Dragon Star Varmir, composed by Ohyama of the Ziz Studio, and Kaori, Tsutsui, and Teisena. So this track is, honestly, it's not as high energy as some of the tracks I could have picked from this game. And believe it or not, the OST isn't even that large for this game. But every track on it is a gem. But this one particularly resonates well with me. The instruments in here it make me feel something when I hear it for a long period of time. It's nice. And it made me go with it instead of the norm. And as for where it fits into this episode theme, it's a surprisingly tragic game. So the idea is that it has that typical concept that a lot of JRPGs have, where you have a holy order battling against a quote-unquote evil group that turns to not be all that evil after all. And then unfortunate hero gets, in this case of this game, he becomes the thing he was trained to hunt by a series of unfortunate events. And then you come to learn that this group, they're witches, and they're being hunted by a holy order. The concept behind it is that these witches are legitimately just unfortunate beings in a world of happenstance. Like, if you're a witch, it's a very unfortunate thing to be.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So witches have magical power in this world, but their magical power comes from dragons that exist within their wombs. And the way it works...
Okay. I think we might have talked about this at your house.
Very possible.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening here is that the dragon in the womb needs dragon blood to live. And that's also what powers the witches and keeps them moving.
Oh, no, you were playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So throughout the game, there's like a group of like young witches that exist.
All right, one more thing. These young witches, they have dragons?
Yes.
Okay.
Dragons.
Dragons.
But the dragon that's in the womb needs to be kept fed in order to thrive. They live on dragon blood, so the characters, the witches, have to consume dragon blood throughout the game. Now here's the hiccup, though. If you don't drink enough dragon blood, the witch will go crazy and lose her marbles, which means she has to be put down. If she consumes a normal to too much dragon blood, which means inevitably the dragon inside of her womb will come to fruition and will hatch from within her, thereby killing her.
Right.
So they are screwed one way or the other.
So what is the doctor recommended amount of dragon's blood?
Whatever, just like the doctor's recommended amount of green tea or Doritos potato chips.
Whatever,
eat until you're satisfied.
Whatever you feel is right. Whatever fits in your hand.
Exactly. But of course, given the scenario, the situation, you have these characters who are like teetering on starvation because they're trying to keep it at bay as long as possible.
Oh, interesting.
So the premise of the game, of course, is
to stop the cycle.
Yeah, and it's weird because the main character is a guy, and he is the first male witch to be created.
Yeah, this looked like a harem anime when I was watching you play.
No, that's the thing. It's actually not.
Oh, no?
That's what I like about it. Even though it has the whole guy with a bunch of women, it's not a harem. It's just literally, by him being a man that became a witch, it brought a lot into question about what witches are, and if there's a way to like stop this thing they're stuck with, because he doesn't have a womb, there's no dragon in there. But he's still got witch power, just like they do, and he's still, quote-unquote, supposedly doomed to die, so they're trying to work through all the system. It's like, okay, so if you're here, that means maybe there's a way out of this. And they're like trying to find a cure for what they call witch's disease.
How far in are you?
I'm fairly far in, but I don't want to say anything about it because anything's a spoiler.
If I recall, I showed up and you were in the middle of like the opening cinematic scene, and it kept going, and you were like, wow, maybe I should come back to this because it was so long.
Yeah, like if I was there by myself, I wouldn't have cared. But when you have a guest over and it's like, okay, let me get to a save point. Still waiting. Still waiting.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I forgot that this game also had a blood aspect to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like to try to push games. It's funny because Idea Factory games, they're like the primary RPG company in this day and age.
Yeah, you mentioned them a lot. Yeah, they do a lot of games now, right?
Yeah, that's why they get brought up a lot, because they're like, if you play JRPGs in this day and age, like new ones, it's very unlikely that you're going to not come across an Idea Factory game. It's just not, because they're the primary producers of the stuff nowadays. But even though they do a lot of reused assets and they take a lot of shortcuts even for some of their stuff, like they always have the still anime portraits, but now they kind of have that slight movement that makes them seem like they're alive, but they're not.
Yeah, everyone's really into using it's a game development tool called Spine, in which you can take an image, a high-res image, and cut out sections of it and animate those sections individually at like really well. And so you can have like a really clear image and then have like things move and bounce and flow. And so you see that a lot, like a super high-res anime, like almost airbrushed image, but like where like it looks almost unreal, like a picture moving.
Yeah, it messes with you when you're not used to it, because you'll look at it like, I could have sworn that picture was moving a bit, like they're breathing, and that's actually what it is. But it doesn't seem like it at first because it's a very subtle movement.
All right,
but for the most part, these games, even though they do these shortcuts and all that stuff, they tend to come up with some weird stories that feel like they go a little outside the norm sometimes. It's like you really want to see how they play out.
Yeah, when you describe these things, they sound crazy. That you wouldn't really see in games, especially like in the 90s and the early 2000s, which is where I'm going for the PlayStation 2.
Ooh.
I'm going for the most obvious choices, or the most obvious games. This is a gun-con game that I feel like I've heard of, but I never got a chance. It's called Vampire Knight. I don't think it got an a Western U.S. release, but it's for the PlayStation 2. I could not find a composer at all for it, but it's an arcade-style game. I think it's an arcade port. So, because there's different modes. There's like an arcade mode, a classic mode, and some other like maybe time attack. And it's a very narrative-heavy gun-con game. It reminds me of Elemental Gearbolt a little bit.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Where it's a light gun game, but it's got like a lot of RPG elements and story elements. And this is the music for options. So just choosing options. There's music for every little part of this game, which is really cool. So Vampire Knight for the PlayStation 2. and the composer is unknown. The options music from the game Vampire Knight for the PlayStation 2. Don't have a composer on this one. Yeah, but it's smooth. This whole soundtrack is very atmospheric. It's some of the tracks are a little bass heavy. I really like the hi-hat on this. It's very modern, like trap music hi-hat where it's like da-da-da-da-da-da. But very, very, very atmospheric. I mean, obviously with those with that wind. Woo!
It's interesting that this is the option music, but that explains why it's like quicker loop.
Yeah, it's a much shorter loop. It's sort of like just kind of setting the mood for when you start the game. But I love for the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2, the light gun was called. Well, maybe it was. I'm not sure if it was like the official light gun, but it was called the Gun Con.
The thing is, there wasn't an quote unquote official one for the PlayStation. What ended up happening was different companies had different guns. Mostly Namco, though.
Yeah, this was the Namco one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it reminded me a lot of the gun used in the Time Crisis arcade game, which had like a kickback on it. It had like when you'd shoot, it had like a little recoil on top, and it was really satisfying to play.
Like for me, the only thing I hated about gun cons was the fact that the way that the technology they use for them requires you to have it connected to the TV and to the system itself.
Right.
So you'd have like the one cable running off the back of the PlayStation controller around the backs of the TV
set, yeah.
And it was just kind of awkward and cumbersome. But in
it's
exchange, it was probably the most accurate, like portable handgun.
Yeah, and it kept the screen from having to flicker because it was receiving input from the video, so it didn't have to flash the screen to see where like the hit collisions were, which was pretty cool.
And it made games where you're constantly mashing the trigger feel much more comfortable because you weren't getting like glare feedback constantly.
Yeah. The I think some of the home versions of the Gun Con also had the recoil, which all like in the arcade, like when I worked at the arcade, it broke all the time. We could never keep those working in good order, but it was satisfying because, like, you know how those games you had to shoot and then you had to shoot outside the screen to reload? Sometimes it was difficult to know when you had to reload if you weren't paying attention to where your ammo was. But this one you can actually feel it. So every shot you could feel in your hand, so you knew when you would have to go and reload. It was pretty cool.
Honestly, I feel like I need to try it out again because I don't recall like noticing anything special, but what I did like about its use was that it had the right amount of weight to it. So I would have that thing where I'm like, bang, 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 and I would just do like a hand flick, like flick, shoot, and bring it back. It's like a very fluid motion, and you're just going to town. When you're playing like point blank, when the game would be like, shoot this car 50 times in 8 seconds before the car hits the front of the screen, you're like, moving it back and forth, back and forth.
Man, I was really into a lot of these. There was I remember there was one called Police Trainer.
That was very surprisingly serious for a game.
Yeah, that was really good. We used to play that one a lot. And then all of the Sega ones. So Sega had House of the Dead. The first and the second, I think maybe also the second House of the Dead used like a giant revolver. It was like had like a really big barrel on the front of like a handgun.
Really?
And then in Jurassic Park in the Lost World, it also used the one we had anyway. We had the same light gun for that. And so it was like you were shooting dinosaurs with this huge blaster, which I always thought was funny. It was like, let's go visit Jurassic Park and shoot all the dinosaurs.
I also kind of liked how, as arcades kind of went on, they became more and more, the guns started getting ridiculous.
Oh, really elaborate. Yeah, the House of the Dead turned into like a giant shotgun, which I wasn't into. Time Crisis 2, I feel, was like the height of Time Crisis. Like,
Time Crisis 2?
Yeah, that was my favorite one. It was 2-player. You know, it wasn't too complicated.
I don't know, like, I guess I did like the game. I was Gary said because I was about to say something along the lines of like I wasn't too big on it, but then it hit me. I did enjoy the whole like hit the pedal, get back up.
Yeah. You had to coordinate with your friend, you know.
Yeah, I was a big fan of it, though not so much the coordinating part because I never played with friends of mine. I was always with strangers in the arcade. So trying to get your groove with this complete stranger who's just gung-ho with his gun, like, put it down! Get back behind the cover!
Well, when these games are free and you played them all the time, like after hours and stuff, like we got weird because you can memorize when everything was going to happen. So on House of the Dead 1, we started having like speedrun contests.
Dual wielding?
Yeah, of like using both guns at the same time and see how far you can get, how fast you can finish the game. And at one point, we were just able to finish it. We're like, all right, what's next?
And the odd thing about it, dual wielding on one hand seems cool, and it is cool. Who am I kidding? But when you master the whole like hold and then finger trigger,
oh
push,
right. So if you put your hand in front of the gun instead to reload instead of putting it outside the screen.
Oh no. Though that I didn't even think about that.
Oh, to actually move faster.
I'm talking about firing faster by taking your finger and putting it inside the trigger slot and like doing a constant flick there, like you kind of wiggle the gun into your finger.
So that brings me to like another technique. We're going all over the place here. So a couple weeks ago we talked about playing Nintendo and we used to put like a battery on the buttons to rub it back and forth faster. There's another thing that a lot of people do in fighting games. So the buttons are usually a little bit bigger and super responsive. Is that there's a whole technique called P-linking or plinking, which is priority linking. So if you hit the button and then hit it again super fast with the second finger, like kind of like
a gallop.
Yeah, like a galloping from one finger, like from your middle finger to your index finger, super fast. If that happens on the same frame with another button, often it'll priority link that button with the next button, and you can do combos that normally weren't possible. Or you could give yourself an extra frame because it was thinking you were hitting the jab instead of the medium punch.
Was this a programming thing?
Yeah, it was a programming error turned into a technique in Street Fighter 4, but it's used in a lot of other fighting games because it's just inherent in these games.
It's definitely an arcade technique, not so much a console one, because I can't imagine taking two fingers and jumping on like those tiny controller buttons.
Definitely not, but there's other techniques you can do with controllers that you can't do on joysticks. All right, so that's my story, and that's
the end of that chapter.
And that, as they say, is that. Pernell, what's your next track?
I'm hoping I even got the composer right for this. It's going to be kind of sad if I didn't, all things considered. But between now and the break, I'm sure I'll get the right composer.
Yeah. Well, I know the game.
Oh, there's no way you won't. There's absolutely no way you won't know this game.
Super Mario Blood Brothers.
How is that not a game? That should be a game then.
Right?
But no. This game in particular, sir, is the OG game when someone thinks of blood in video games. Take a crack at it.
If someone thinks of blood in video games.
Well, it should be.
Mortal Kombat.
You better believe it, baby.
Oh, hey. All right, cool.
Mortal Kombat from the Sega Genesis. The track title is The Hall Stage. And the composer for this track is Dan Forden. A first for this show, actually, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever played Mortal Kombat on the show.
We're Dan Forden. Welcome back. You're listening to the Hall Stage theme from the game Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis, originally composed by Dan Forden, but I totally forgot that the Genesis version, which Rob figured out, was actually updated and tweaked for the Genesis by Matt Furniss.
Right, he did the music conversion. And this is the definitive Mortal Kombat soundtrack. Like, this is how it sounds in my head. I think it sounds the best.
Honestly, that makes two of us. A part of me wants to say it's nostalgia talking because this is the version that I played growing up. That was the version my brother ended up buying. It's the version that I hated my friends for wanting to play constantly when I just wanted to play Sonic and other actual action platformers.
Yeah.
But I digress. Mortal Kombat, we can't have an episode on Blood without bringing up the OG Mortal Kombat game.
Right. This game was released on home consoles on the Genesis first, and then on the Super Nintendo shortly after. But strangely, with no signature blood splatter.
Yes, correct, because we have a number of young listeners on this show who may not have been alive when this happened. So Mortal Kombat was pretty much the beginning of companies and parents and all becoming truly concerned about violence in video games. When this game hit consoles, prior to that time in the arcade, and what it was mostly known for, it was a fighting game that people liked, but it was known for the brutality of it all.
Oh, absolutely. Tearing off people's heads and stuff like that, like weird hidden codes to do some ultra gruesome things. But yeah, it was contained into the arcades, but it was in the arcades for a good long while before it reached the home consoles.
Yes, and when it did, Genesis was pretty much, we want it, just bring it on, we'll take the game. But Nintendo was a family-friendly company back then. It had freaking last name is killing me, but Howard Lincoln was the guy that ran the company back then. He was very adamant about keeping their games family friendly across the board. And also, this is before there were ratings. So his solution for getting the game on the system was, rather than have the characters to secrete blood on contact, they sweat. So the characters were sweating in the game.
Right.
And then, of course, down the line, Midway injected a blood code into the game. You can input a specific code and get actual blood colors for the splatter.
It was very interesting. So, like on the Genesis, if you punched a guy, nothing happened. But very obviously, on the opening screen, you can put in a code, ABACABB.
You remember it?
Oh, absolutely, because I put it in every time, and it unlocked all of the gruesome fatalities, all of the blood would just pop up in the game. But now in the Super Nintendo version, when you first started the game, I believe the blood was there, but it was all like gray and,
it was
and
sweat.
blue. It was
They
supposed
called
to be
it sweat.
So I was like, wow, that's really strange. But then it had its own code you can put in to turn it red. At that point, I was like, I'm not sure what the point is anymore. Honestly, this game was released on home consoles before Street Fighter 2 was released on home consoles.
Wait, no. Are you sure Street Fighter 2, I thought, hit consoles in 1992 on the Super Nintendo? It wasn't a launch game, but it was near launch.
Maybe, but no, it reached it before. It was before it hit Sega Genesis. Sega Genesis got it a little bit later.
Yeah, Street Fighter on Sega Genesis came there because they got the Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Championship Edition. And so that's all I wanted to play. So all I had for fighting games at home was Mortal Kombat. And my friends did not like this game because I played it to death and learned all of the cheese moves. And
I just used Sonya Blade and did that weird air dash kick that she constantly did. I exploited that move, and the fact that I could actually win matches with it made me feel like a powerful being. Like, okay, we're done. I won. Let's play Kid Chameleon. Turn this crap off. But it's interesting that due to this game's existence, all of a sudden, all the news channels were running, stories on violence in games and what are they doing to our children. Look at this game where you can rip this guy's spine out of his neck. And parents, they were interviewing parents, interviewing the kids, because like, this game is awesome. It makes me feel like a big man. No kid actually said that, but man, what if he did? That would be hilarious. So in the end, what ended up happening was enough outcry kicked in. A lot of parents were upset. The government said something needs to be done about this. So they, coupled with the video game industry, created the ESRB, I want to say it's like the Entertainment Service Ratings Board or something like that.
Yeah.
And to this day, that is pretty much what we use to rate all of our video games. It stems from the release of Mortal Kombat on consoles and parents freaking out.
Yeah, from then on, there was a big, bold letter on the bottom left of those cartridges in those boxes that was like M for mature or T for teen.
And before E for everybody, it was kids to adults, which was kind of a funny rating.
Kids to adults. That's right, I remember. And then I remember when what was that? N64 game that was had the squirrel in it.
Oh, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
The first mature game on a Nintendo console.
Yeah, use the word mature very loosely. That was the.
Are you trying to say the great mighty Pooh wasn't a mature gentleman who knew his boundaries?
No, I think that was a technological achievement.
That game was splendid.
Putting in all of that music and voice work onto that cartridge is, and the full 3D game, incredible.
It's interesting too, because I think about that game now. Like, say, to give you some perspective on this, I'm not going to go into it for those who don't know. You're welcome to look it up, but it's not for this show. But I'm reviewing a game now called Omega Labyrinth Life. That game is definitely an M-rated game, but I would not call it mature in any capacity. It's pretty down the totem pole on maturity. It's kind of eh. But it's interesting when you look back on something like Conker and all the flack that people were trying to give it back then for being a very immature game. And while I will admit it had a lot of immature humor to it, poop jokes and a lot of swearing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Admittedly, the narrative and how they strung it together, coupled with the gameplay and just everything, it was a surprisingly good game package. Like, as long as you're okay with the content, you're getting a quality experience from Conker's Bad Fur Day. And when it wraps up, you actually feel like, man, I experienced a really cool adventure here. I'm glad Rare took the chance on this. It's a weird thing about that. And to this day, I would still play it.
Yeah, I think it's great that they would take a chance on something completely different. It was kind of like end of life on N64 too. It was like very towards the end of when they were releasing games for that console, at least in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So along these lines of controversial, violent, bloody games, there was a game that would be released on the PlayStation, and then the fighting game, that then the game engine was turned into a licensed product for the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, you're talking about Thrill Kill.
Yes. So we're going to listen to music from Wu-Tang Clan, Shaolin style. I loved it only for the Wu-Tang Clan.
That is an interesting way to pick a track from this game. That's real smart.
It was a good 4-player beat-em-up game, but it was stupid violent. Mm-hmm. But the music is incredible.
Because it was Wu-Tang Clan composed a lot of music for the game.
They absolutely did. And if you go check out the Forever Sound Version podcast, Michael Bridgewater, who is a hip-hop head, like he knows
that Joker's a savant.
He is a hip-hop philosopher. Check out that. He's got a whole episode on this game. It's really cool. So anyway, this is the track called Rumble from Wu-Tang Clan Shaolin Style for the PlayStation. It is You God featuring Inspectah, Leatherface, Method Man, and produced by True Master, who is a longtime Wu-Tang Clan and Gravediggaz producer.
I was really wishing you were about to say he was surprisingly a long-time listener of the show.
No, wait, this is definitely maybe now. This is a You God track from Wu-Tang Clan Shaolin Style. This is Rumble.
Countdown. Are you ready? Are you mad inside? Got you strapped down to your seats. Out of the doorway, bullets rip full clip. Guard speed approach, follow my lead. Fire winds gust, empire crush, full thrust. Rolling the whole road with the rush. Untouchable chunk of an earwax assault. Sound wave slave out the back cave smoke. My belly full prance dance avalanche quote. Down slope, elegant ass fantasia. Killer whale tail in the hell, black male from Asia. All out the woodworks, hood shirts and wizards. No match, unhatched. The rap is rigid in the shaft. Shiny cop, hip hop to the limit. Night watch, Pat Mark, spark, spin a quake, nuclear blast. Heavy on the cash, give it what it takes now. Rage, rock. Roll, fight, roar, fall, rumble. Rage, rock, roll, fight, roar, fall, rumble.
The diabolic witty dialect stalker in Gotham City, with the possibility to stop your walking ability. God forgive me, spark enemies with pistol grips. The missile tips impact hit you so hard. Official script strike with physical hits. You visible, watch for the imperial blitz. Serious mid, subject to the wreck war tones. Endure poems liver than WWF war zone. More component Gotti tracks, bodies collapse. Rap for lottery stacks, shatter like when pottery cracks. Logical facts from the terror dome. Spill from the guts, drill till you bust. But when you bust and guard you now we trust. Told you like how the mutts. Pound pumpkin sound struck clown what? Look at drowned in the cut by crowd roundup. tremendous speed, measuring far, which busting satellites circling Mars. Verbal onslaught, bring forth physical force of 100 wild pounds in the Trojan horse. Thought method, set it on generic mic ethics. Professional next, left foes beheaded. This music is mind control like computer chips. Been doing this for numerous years, refuse to lose it. With jungle tactics, maneuver like a trained soldier. Hall of Fame, flamethrower, take aim, it's game over. Ayatollah, high roller, 9-toter, mind controller, 2009 time quota. My coalition, bring the demolition. Wu blade incision, slate the competition with no intermission. Spitting hazardous darts up front like Rosa Parks, make a million men march.
Rage, rock, roll, fight, roar, fall, rumble. Rage, rock, roll, fight, roar, fall, rumble.
Who got next? Meth got next, I chin check all these MCs. Line them up guard, I go jihad. Declare holy war, it be hard to dip and dodge. Police squads trying to bogard, we rip and raw. The boulevard ain't safe for your kids, that's how it is. In the ghetto, we ain't scared to death, but scared to live. So Goldie, mosey to the spot, get that moldy. Rusty ass 38 special, owe me. Slowly I turn, face the one and only. Naughty by nature, do my dirt all by my lonely. Ass pretty Tony, when I got up, keeps up. 36 chambers, enter at your own risk. Take that watch off and tuck your necklace. City never sleeps, streets is restless. Rap style will slay you when you least expect it. Pull a plug on your respirator, leave you breathless. Wu-Tang forever and a day better. One your boys, I deploy battleship raps, seek and destroy.
Rage, rock, roll, fight, roar, fall, rumble. Rage, rock, roll, fight, roar, fall, rumble.
All right, we're back. That was Rumble from the game Wu-Tang Clan Shaolin style for the Sony PlayStation. And the list of composers on that one, we have You God featuring Inspectah, Leatherface, Method Man, and produced by True Master Derek Harris of the Wu-Tang Clan.
I still like the fact that you took that roundabout way. Like, how do I get this awesome track on one episode themed with blood? I got it. I'll reference the game that it was built on top of.
Well, I mean, like, it was, but, like, wow, this game was violent.
Yes,
Like,
it was.
crazy violent. If you wanted to have, like, the RZA, the Jizza, and Method Man, like, ripping off each other's arms, this was the game for you.
And that's what actually blows my mind, that they actually said, we're going to take that template, we're going to make this game, but we're not going to change the gruesomeness of it.
Oh, no, they amped it up. Like, they made a whole bunch of, generic bad guys. So, like, the Wu-Tang Clan's, like, Kung Fu master gets kidnapped into New York, and they have to travel through New York looking for their master.
And all the generic enemies, well, they weren't generic, they were still caricatures, but they were like the enemies that you would find in fighting games. Like, you had to fight them, right?
Yeah, you had
in
to
the arenas.
fight. Yeah, you had to fight them in the arenas. But then also was almost every person from the Wu-Tang Clan, every artist from the Wu-Tang Clan was a character in the game also that you could play as. It through the story mode, so you could fight through all 36 chambers to earn, like, what, I don't know, like, unlock the other characters and moves and stuff. Or you could just do a full-out battle royale, like, you know, four players, up to 4 players, all against each other, and you can play whoever you wanted. And every single character had, like, moves and variations of moves, and they all had finisher moves. Most of them had multiple finisher moves. It was crazy. Very bloody. Very bloody. Very dark.
And it's interesting, too, because, like, this game, to my understanding, it actually did sell decently well. It didn't slouch in the retail ship.
It had a special release with a special controller that was the shape of a giant W, which looked like really painful to hold. Michael Bridgewater found it at a flea market when he was, like, in the UK.
Oh, cool.
Like, they were driving around and he saw it in, like, some guy's box, and he was like, Whoa.
If he's listening to this
Where did this come
episode,
from? I
if
hope
he
so.
hears this episode, he has to take a photo of it or something to show it to.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
curious to look at.
he had a picture of it somewhere. I gotta find it again. And I was like, that's amazing that it found its way over there.
Now, like the original game that this was built up of, if I don't remember who developed. I think it was like a no-name studio at the time, but the game itself was called Thrill Kill.
Yes.
It never got an official release because it was deemed kind of too violent. Plus, the themes in it weren't
yeah.
good.
No, yeah, it was really I mean, it was violent for violence sake.
Yeah.
But then it was also super like in bad taste.
Yeah, like I think you could be a gimp and like a really creepy, sexy nurse type character.
Yeah, it was like really bad, like tropes and like some racist elements and stuff. And so they were like, no, we're not gonna do this. But I think it was the same developer. It's called Paradox Development. And then once Wu-Tang, then once they slapped on like the whole Wu-Tang clan and did all this with it, they Activision really published it.
And it's funny too, because like I remember this was back when burning games for your consoles was actually pretty easy to do.
Very easy to do. If your console could play the burned copy, super simple.
So Real Kill people, a lot of people were grabbing burned versions of the prototype version of the game.
Right, because that was never released. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember grabbing it thinking, I'm cool, I got this prototype game. Everyone come check out this game. It took like maybe like 3 matches. Like, I don't think I want to play this anymore.
Yeah, there's not much going on. There wasn't much going on with this game either, but like it was.
The theme made it work. Though. That's the thing.
Yeah, the theme made it work. So like, if you're in the Wu-Tang Clan, and
it's between the characters and their music, that will keep you playing this as long as you at least are okay with the gameplay.
Exactly, and you know what? Sometimes a game doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be stupid enough for a group of drunk guys to have fun.
Oh yeah,
playing this game. That's all that mattered.
Honestly, that's Metal Wolf Chaos. Even though that's a single player game, that is just stupid enough. Have I told you about that game?
That's the presidents are in giant mechs, right?
Yeah, there's like a weird coup d'etat on the United States by the vice president in the U.S. military.
I love that idea.
President Michael Wilson suits up in a giant mech suit. At the beginning of it, he bursts out of the White House and takes down a military force and escapes on Air Force One. And then he begins an adventure to take back America from this coup by flying his mech to various cities in the United States and just throwing down. And it is absurd.
Oh my gosh, that's
The quotes. There was a one line where, like, I think one of my favorite lines is really early in the game, and he goes, talks to his secretary, he goes, Jody, do I have anything scheduled for today? And she goes, well, sir, you have to meet with the Japanese, the Japanese ambassador in regards to wildlife conservation effort. And he goes, oh no, I guess I'm going to have to cancel that appointment today because today I have to save America. And he just constantly references like
why did he even ask? Like, hey, what do I have going on today? Well, I mean, you have a meeting with the secretary of this, and you have to, and you have to work out the budget for this. No, can't do that today. I have to save America.
I can do, but sir,
Peace
that's
out.
impossible. I can do anything because I'm the president. It's a game where it was originally an Xbox One game, like original Xbox game, and the guys who did Armored Core made it. Now it has some flaws to it.
Oh,
I mean, it's
okay,
an old
okay,
game.
yeah,
You know,
I loved Armored Core.
Oh yeah,
around the same time this game came out, I was
Yep.
playing Armored Core. Yeah,
and it's the game itself has some problems. Like as far as quality goes, like there's some weird sound leveling issues in the game and stuff like
some
that.
production quality.
There's some production
Yeah,
quality.
okay.
But for just like you said about this, for the sheer level of absurdity that it gives you,
you're gonna
and the
have fun
fact-
anyway.
Yes, and the gameplay itself is actually not bad at all. It's genuinely a fun play. It's just you'll be like, oh crap, the sound needs to get leveled again. But it's so enjoyable just to run around and hear them say stupid crap. And then it's like just that line is almost like I'm going to win because I have the power of friendship and hope. Like that kind of stuff, but throw America in there instead.
It's like the developers, like they knew, like this is what they wanted. You know, like this is gonna make it fun.
Oh, it was a total parody.
Like maybe the production value isn't gonna make it fun. This is gonna make it fun, right? And I think that's great. All right,
It's glorious.
What's your last track?
Well, my last track is going to be from another game. I have picked from it before, but I'll take the excuse to play awesome music from this game, and it fits the theme. So, ha-da-da-da-da.
La-da-da-da-da.
I'm going to name this track, but I might ask you to choose it for me, and then we'll just play the proper one afterwards.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this track that I'm personally going with to start is called Urge to Freedom from the game Mary Skelter Nightmares. Also, believe it or not, composed by Ziz Studios' Yo Ohyama, and Teisena on violin.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I ended up sticking with this track because Rob seemed to really dig it too.
Yeah, that was like, oh, we're playing this one. This is good.
So this was Urge to Freedom from the game Mary Skelter Nightmares on the PlayStation Vita and soon Nintendo Switch, composed by Yo Ohyama of Ziz Studio and Teisena on the violin. And that violin, even though everything about it is awesome, that violin is what really makes this track what it is, I think.
That really, that's awesome. It really drives the track. But you that's so cool. That's so cool.
It's just a good track for how it's used to. It's a boss theme in the game, but it's the boss theme from when you're fighting the nightmares and the labyrinths that you're in. So throughout the game, as you're playing it, you're exploring environments. But in these environments, there are these nightmares who patrol them. And every once in a while, they'll try to find you. Or they're always trying to find you. But if they do, a chase sequence occurs where they're chasing you through the labyrinth, including enemies getting into combat behind you. And if you don't defeat them before the monster catches up, he'll join the fight. And it's like, oh no. So you're basically trying to outrun these guys in the dark.
Oh, that's cool. This is the game where like you have to like take the other character's blood to power up your moves.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, you fight monsters, and when you hit the monsters with certain types of attacks, their blood gets on your characters.
Oh,
and that blood powers them up.
That's right. You're not draining their blood. Like, you're just like covering yourself in their blood, and that powers you up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it also can make you power drunk if you're too engorged by it.
Oh, do you go like berserk?
You can go berserk,
that's cool, okay.
which means you'll turn on your party members and all that stuff. So the way to cure that is there's a specific character in the game whose blood can neutralize the insanity effect, which makes for one of the most bizarre game concepts I've heard of in my life, where he has something called the Mary gun that's directly attached to his veins, and he shoots his blood like a gun at the other characters to cleanse them of the monster blood that's driving them crazy and making them powerful. The entire game runs on the premise of blood. It's a really weird game.
Wow. And I like the idea of these monsters, like if you're like within a battle already, but there's other enemies coming up from behind you that can like chase you down and
it's
like
specifically the nightmares though, because normal enemies are just random encounters, but the nightmare exists outside of random encounters. He's actually walking around the labyrinth with you, and he chases after you when he finds you, and it's just a race against time to get away from him. Now here's an interesting little tidbit you probably didn't know about with this, but it's also a lovely element of this show that I've come to really appreciate how we do this show. So I originally brought this game up a couple months ago, maybe like in February or so.
Yeah, I think that was like when we first started. Like, you didn't really. This game must have come out recently, right? Because
no, it didn't come out recently, but I started playing it recently. It was like I was like finally digging into the backlog and grabbing this off the shelf.
Yeah, it was like January, February of this year that you started getting it.
So one of our listeners, Dan, listened to that episode, and I can't remember whether he bought it or he had it in his backlog. but he started playing the game. And he, of course, got way farther than me, ultimately beat the game.
Oh, cool.
But he would message me from time to time. We'd talk about his progress and his take on the game.
Yeah, yeah.
And he literally broke the thing. Like, he had this cheap party that he was able to discover that kind of just broke the game. And I'm like, I don't know if I could comfortably use that now that I know it exists.
That's what's cool about these things. Like, a lot, like these games are all about, like, figuring out how to exploit, like, the system, like the battle systems and stuff. All the supports the characters have for each other, and so he ripped it apart.
He just decimated this game, and it was cool because, like, he would just kind of like message us like, "Hey, Purnell, I'm playing this game that you mentioned, and here's how it's working. Here's how I feel about it." And it was just that nice dialogue. Like, I brought this up with a lot of people in the past, and I brought it up with friends. And it's also a large part of what I try to get out of Rhythm and Pixels chat even. It's that sense of game community and game shared play. Because there's this feeling sometimes, like if you're not in, like, say, like FGC or Fortnite and all that kind of stuff, a lot of the games we play are solitary experiences. RPGs, platformers, collectathons, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of single player experience.
Yeah. And it's easy as you get older to get this sense of isolation when you play these kinds of games because, again, while you're playing them, it's just you and the controller and the TV, and they run for 40-plus hours sometimes. So that's a lot of your time being isolated. But when you get that social element to back it up, similar to how a lot of people will gorge a TV show and then go to work and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same idea that people typically don't utilize with games that I've come to notice. But it should. You should be able to say, hey, man, I'm playing Fire Emblem right now. My favorite party member is this guy. I have him using electric tomes and this item. Maybe he helped me power through stage 25. How are you doing? Well, I haven't even opened my copy yet. But now I know who to use with the lightning tome. You know, like that kind of thing. Like, it feels good to have that sense of community and exchange of information, dialogue. And even if your response is, this game sucks, make it constructive. Why did you not like it? Well, I didn't like the fact that this happened and this is the way the game played out. And in the end, it's like, I'm still enjoying hearing your take on this game. The fact that you didn't like it because of this stuff.
As long as it's constructive, you still feel like, oh, this still sparked dialogue about this thing.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to defend it. I just want to talk about it.
Yes.
And then you still get to talk about it.
Exactly.
I like that.
And I feel like it's come a long way in that we're like just talking games with people feels good. Like I even bought Electric Boogaloo, he's not even in Rhythm Pistol Check because he doesn't do the Facebook.
Yeah.
Good
on him.
Oh, hey, I'm not knocking it. If I never started Facebook, I'd probably be okay with it. But I'm already on there, so he got me direct into my veins. But he on the Discord chat, he recommended I get the Spyro collection. And I bought that after he was like, you'll really like it. You'll really like it. And keep in mind, I never played Spyro the Dragon. Like going back to the PS1, I ignored it.
Oh, really?
I was kind of tired of mascot characters at that point. It's like, okay, everything's an animal that talks and he's smart alecky and I don't have time for this.
He's got some attitude.
He had attitude, yes. And it was like, I don't really feel like I want this game. But after him suggesting it enough, I was like, it's on sale. I'll grab it, see how it is. And I'm having fun with it. I've been playing it bit by bit because, as you know, between reviews plus the board games, social life, and other games I want to play, it's really hard to get to specific games.
Yeah.
But I get to Spyro, and in a few times I've been able to sit with it, whenever I do, it becomes like a marathon. Like I'm like, okay, I'm into this until it's time for bed. And I'm hooked. Like I'm surprised I like it as much as I do. It's a quality experience. It's very lighthearted. It's borderline like a Disney type game.
Yeah. I think that's why people really enjoy it because it is like that. It's very easy to pick up and play, but it's just enjoyable. Like Ratchet and Clank is like that. It's not super hard. It's just really fun to play through.
Yep, and
all of those games.
And to this day, like I'll pick up a Ratchet and Clank game and just boot right through it.
Oh, and the characters are super silly and they're fun.
Look, plumber's crack. What'd you say? I said the plumber's back.
Yeah, exactly. Like the dumb puns and the stupid jokes. Like. There's just something fun about that. Let's talk about something serious for a minute.
Plumber's crack?
Surgery. Surgery is very serious, Purnell.
It is very serious.
Specifically in Trauma Center Under the Knife Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo?
Electric Boogaloo for the Nintendo DS. This is a gentle breeze coming through the Trauma Center
That's a long track title.
Yeah. The Gentle Breeze from Trauma Center 2, Under the Knife. Gentle Breeze from the game Trauma Center, Under the Knife Part 2 for the Nintendo DS, composed by Manabu Namiki. So completely different from the tracks we've just been listening to.
But honestly though, I'm perfectly okay with this difference because
this is a lovely track. I love everything about it.
Yes, it is. I'm going to wager this is probably during one of like the hospital like cinema sequences.
Oh yeah, there's it's like a lighthearted. Maybe like a kid is loose in the hospital and he's just, causing trouble, pushing over carts of blood and stuff like that.
That's not very lighthearted. That's actually very dangerous.
Those little whippersnappers.
Just contaminating the office with the sealed vials of blood all over the floor.
You're in the operating theater and you're trying to do like a liver transplant and just kids are getting in there with their sticky fingers.
He's an adorable little scamp.
He's like, nurse.
Totally going to get a suit for malpractice.
Pass me the scalpel, nurse. And this kid comes in here with his lollipop. And he's like, you're the lollipop, mister. And he's like, It's a beach track. Maybe it's surgery on the beach.
No.
Yeah, beach surgery.
That would be extremely unsanitary.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Sand blowing everywhere. That just would not work. Well, I guess I could put a tent up. A beach tent.
A beach tent. Yeah. Just put a towel down.
Yeah. That would do the trick.
That'd work out fine.
And it would probably bring tensions down. Think about it. You're in an environment that's relaxing, sand on the ground, breeze blowing, people laughing and playing outside. Here you are for surgery.
You might have a much higher survival rate if you were more relaxed on the beach.
Yes.
Now, if I were your doctor, you would not. Because in these games, I'm terrible at, which is why all my patients lose lots of blood.
Yeah, but in these games, you also have those cool powers, which is what I like about Trauma Center.
Oh, yeah, you slow down. Healing power. What's it called? Just healing power?
Healing touch.
Healing touch.
Yes, healing touch, and you can slow down time.
I always thought that was funny because you're working on a patient that's cut open. And suddenly the doctor says, healing touch. And he's like, he's going to touch the open wound.
I'm trying to remember exactly how it plays in the game.
Doctor, get your hands out of there.
Because I think the way, I'm trying to remember, I want to say in the game, it's good for just bringing his vital signs back up. Because there's a virus there's superhuman viruses that are attacking the patients sometimes.
It's like the, it's the parallel to having a catch-up feature in a racing game where if you're in first place, your opponents get a little bit of a speed boost to make it more of a race.
Yeah, but in this case, the opponent is a super virus that can just tear out of a person. Even though you just sewn them up, they'll just remove the stitching and it's such a weird premise when you think about it. But it's this game, I will say the Trauma Center franchise was a prime example of what you can get when companies get experimental and say, we're going to do something really weird and unexpected with our games.
Super different.
Because I didn't expect this game franchise to be great, but it is. And I actually came up with a good game idea recently, too. By the way. I don't know if I could ever pull it off, but I was talking to Mark about it yesterday, too. The idea is that you are chefs, and you are just typical chefs who like to cook. Okay. However, you are also in an environment where food is mutated and alive and violent and is trying to do bad things. And the idea is that as chefs, you are fighting these vicious foods, trying to subdue them. But while this is happening, a rival chef team is also fighting the food.
Oh, I like
You're
that.
competing to fight the food while the food's trying to kill all of you.
Food fight.
And it gets better.
Yeah.
When you kill the food item monsters, they become ingredients, which you then cook during the stage. And they become food items, which I'm still trying to figure out whether you should use the food in an ultimate cooking battle contest.
Or those are like win conditions where like the more monsters you defeat, you're trying to defeat specific monsters for those ingredients to fulfill those recipes.
Exactly. And you'd be like, okay, for this contest, I'm going to make this dish. But to get this dish, I need to kill 5 tomato beasts, broccoli bandit, and a chicken cacciatore Sasquatch.
Oh, that's funny.
And you're just pretty much fighting it out. And you might have 2 chefs fighting one monster. You're like, okay, we got to work together on this. We'll split the ingredients or something weird like that.
Oh man, that would be like a fun turn-based battle.
Yeah, it's just the thought of it being like a versus, like a competition, but also like Fire Emblem style. You have to actually beat the stage game too. So you can win the battle, but not the war because your dishes are just tawdry compared to
that's
the
a good
opposing
idea.
teams.
We should workshop this. This could have worked as a board game or as a video game. Just think about this some more.
I would play in either form. And I came up with it because I was talking about on SML. I was like, we were doing the whole conversation. I was like, everything's been done. Like, what's left to come up with in the game? And I was just sitting there, I was like, what could there be? I'm like, I got this thing cooking. There's not enough cooking.
That's
games.
why I'm always like really excited when like new games come out that have like completely original ideas and they're just executed in a really original way. I'm always super excited because it just shows me that there's people out there constantly trying new things. And what you see, what's really cool is like you have to think like what you see produced or released and distributed that you're buying might have been like the 8th or 10th or 100th iteration of an idea that these artists already had. Like they've worked through so many different ideas to get to this one, you know?
And then they're hoping this is the one that ticks. This is the one that people enjoy.
And if you bought it, then obviously it did at some point, you know? They clicked with you.
And that's honestly why, and also by the same token, as much as I love that stuff, it also irks me sometimes when like game design can get lazy. Because don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Any game design is work. Like I've never built a game. But there are some times where you can clearly tell like they're just resting their laurels on this because they know it works.
Right.
Let's just throw it out there. And it's not necessarily a bad thing either because somebody might be saying, I need another military shooter. I'll just buy Call of Duty 96. It's fine. I want to get my yearly hit.
There's a lot of people who work on those things and they make them, but
Feeds their kids,
but
pays their bills.
Yeah, but it could have been something else.
Yeah, it could have been Call of Duty. Maybe stuff.
I was gonna say you're gonna go there.
I had to.
Oh boy! All right, so we're gonna turn this track down.
Diaper changing madness gameplay.
Call of Booty, and that's the new dance game.
Oh,
Yeah.
the new DDR competitor. I would play that in the
Call of
arcade.
Booty. Oh, that's my new handle. Call of Booty.
Done.
Done. All right, turn this track down, and we're gonna get into the part of the show we call the bonus round.
Bonus round. Gonna party tonight.
That's good. That is very good.
No,
Call of Booty approves.
Oh God! Stop.
Call of Booty loves that music. All right. This bonus round is the part of our show where we play covers and remixes and arrangements on our theme. And so, Pernell, what you got for the bonus round?
Pernell got lazy for the bonus round. He wanted to play more tracks.
Okay. Well,
So I
we
didn't
can
go
dig
with
it.
any covers.
I can dig it.
So I wanted to pick a track from Bloody Roar 1. It was a game that, it was one of those fighting games that actually clicked for me within the sea of thousands that didn't.
It was very interesting. Very interesting. It was very cool. Very, very cool concept and like that kind of 3D Tekken type style. Really sick soundtrack. So I'm excited that you picked from this game.
And for the record, I didn't choose it just because the title is Bloody Roar. The story's premise was also that the reason why they were able to turn into monsters was because it was an infection in their blood.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The actual blood mutation. So premise of the game was that all the fighting game characters had a secondary animal form they could just morph into, and some of their moves got edited because of it. Like now they have like claw swipes that did more damage. Some of them had brand new moves when they were in monster forms. It was just a great game.
They're very cool.
Now the track that I'm going to pick is for the stage of Bakuryu the mole character, and it's called Underground. And it's interesting because this game apparently had a breakdown of like instruments and stuff, like a band quartet that did it. So composed by Takayuki Negishi, guitar, Takayuki Hijigata on guitar, Michio Nagaoka on bass, Toshinobu Takimoto on drums, and Makoto Matsushita on alternate guitar.
Yeah, that's what's cool when these games get like really, like when they get official releases and everyone gets credited for their work. It's always exciting when you see that. All right, let's go. Bloody Roar.
welcome back. You just listened to Underground from the game Bloody Roar, composed by, composition. We have Takayuki Negishi, Takayuki Hijikata on guitar, Michio Nagaoka on bass, Toshinobu Takimoto on drums, and Makoto Matsushita on guitar. That many names for that many instruments, this may as well have been a bonus round track in the traditional sense. But I love the OST to Bloody Roar so much.
It's awesome.
I wanted to bring it up.
So the really smooth chill tracks are super funky, super sexy, and like in these hard rock tracks have like a kind of a funky edge to them.
Yes,
Really cool.
There was a lot of buzzwords in there.
Does it make you want to dance?
Maybe not this track, because this isn't a dancey beat to me.
I think Call of Booty wants to dance.
Oh, would you stop it?
It's been a while.
What's popping?
After we listened to the track, we watched some music videos of a man dancing to some Bloody Roar music, and
It was a very bizarre thing.
time just passed.
And apparently
It went
he
by
does.
so quickly.
Yes, it did. It was surprisingly entertaining, but I would never want to watch it again.
Yeah, so sorry everybody. That's all we're doing now. That's the show.
Watching random person dance to VGM.
Right.
That's not danceable.
All right, so for my bonus round track, I really wanted to pick from the new Samurai Showdown, the newest version that was released this year, because it is crazy bloody. Like, it is surprisingly bloody. I mean, they've all been really bloody, but like the animation and the artwork, it's very red. It's very cool. I'm doing a lot of things with my hands right now.
It's a very good game.
But I listened to the soundtrack and I really enjoyed it. But I found this one track. It was the music for the trailer that was released at PAX East. I think it was last year, and the music never actually made it into the game.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was only SNK only put it to the trailer, and then it just never got into the official soundtrack.
which
So
makes it bonus.
yeah, this is bonus round material. So this is called the Blood Moon Massacre, or Embrace Death. And this is from Samurai Showdown 2019. I'm going to make that its official name right now. Or Samurai Spirits 2019. And it's composed by Ghostwriter. This is Blood Moon Massacre, Embrace Death by Ghostwriter for Samurai Showdown 2019, but only for the trailer, never actually in the official soundtrack, not in the official soundtrack.
Honestly, you
Pretty
talked
awesome,
earlier
right?
about the Kirby ska thing. For some reason, at the end of that track, I started going, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Yeah, it's got that, I don't know, something about that tempo and those really heavy drums. It's like, It just makes you like kind of just jump and bounce in your chair. It's really cool.
I've never
like it.
played this game, and I wasn't much for the franchise in general, but I do know that Nakaruru is awesome, and when I did play
Yes.
it, that was who I used along with Charlotte.
Yeah, I always liked Haomaru.
Halmer, yeah, he's like the samurai in the
yeah,
white
samurai,
gi.
yeah, the like the kind of the mascot of the game. Yeah, I was really into this on the Neo Geo. And the new one is getting embraced by the fighting game community pretty heavily.
Really?
People are really into
So
it.
it's succeeding.
Yeah, it's doing really. It looks really cool. The game mechanics, it has has very similar to Guilty Gear of that kind of like you can build up to a one-hit kill where everyone's got kind of like a special move that just like knocks a guy out, slices him in half. But I think a lot of the other games had that too.
Maybe this means that we could soon be getting a re-release of the ADV anime from the 90s.
Maybe. I'm sure it's on its way. Some HD remaster of some cheesy Samurai Spirits OAV.
Hitting on the disc somewhere.
Yeah,
it's already out there.
It's already on the disc. That'd be amazing. All right, for more information on the bonus round part of our show, go to rhythmandpixels.com. We'll have links to the Bandcamps and SoundClouds and everywhere where you can get the music and support these artists. All right, thanks for listening to our episode 19-5 of Rhythm and Pixels. Blood, the blood music, the blood dance, the blood podcast, the bloodcast. 19-5 blood.
The bloody ballad.
I think that's gonna be the title, Bloodcast.
Bloody ballet.
The bloody ballet.
Or blood soiree.
The blood orchestra.
Blood taters. Nah, I got nothing.
The blood taters.
Blood tater ship.
Funny.
I don't know. But it's interesting that it was a topic that it stems from a good place, but it'll be like, let's talk about games that have a lot of blood in them. Like that's pretty much how it converts. Like I'm not gonna lie, there was a party that was like, what are some games where blood transfusions are a major component of them? And I tried. I could not, if it wasn't like Theme Hospital or something.
Right.
I couldn't think of anything.
I was trying to think of like ways of where is like blood an important mechanic in a game? You know, I wasn't clicking, so I was like,
Mary Skelter's pretty much it.
yeah, that's. I remember that did come up in my thoughts, my prayers.
But no one's praying to Mary Skelter.
No one is. But yeah, so this was our blood episode. Next week, I want to do a Simpsons episode soon. There's a lot of Simpsons games.
Or not even just the games. I'm thinking like if I can even think of like a good quote. I don't know. We'll have to figure out something. Like is it going to be quote based or is it based on the games?
No, we should do like we should make a Google Doc where we just list quotes and then we have to think of tracks for those quotes.
All right.
That's kind of like
that could be part of the joke.
That's kind of podcasting nightmare mode, though.
Yeah, but I can wager. I can think of a couple people that I know that listen to the show that would really appreciate that topic.
You get a dental plan. Lisa needs braces track.
Yeah, but then that would make me wonder: are there any games where you feature a prominent dentist?
Probably like a scary dentist, right?
Little Shop of Horrors, the game. Man, that could work. The musical, the game.
The musical, the game, the book, the game.
I'm gonna be a dentist.
So, if you'd like to get in contact with us, you can send us an email.
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And if you'd like more information about the show, full track listing of all the episodes and access to all of the episodes, I think at this point some of them are cut off on our podcast feed, but you can check them all out on the website.
rhythmandpixels.com.
And if you want to check us out on YouTube, it's youtube.com/rhythmandpixels. And there's access to most recent episodes, and there is
RBK.
Blah, blah, blah. There is our 24/7 radio station playing nothing but 8-bit and 16-bit music classics. And you can check us out on social media, which is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's Rhythm and Pixels, all one word. And we have a little group called Rhythm and Pixels Chat. And that's always a good time. I think that our game of the month is
Rayman Legends.
Yes, so get into it. That looks like a lot of fun for now.
I will to this
come
day,
over and play your game.
Honestly, to this day, I stand by the belief that Rayman Legends is probably one of, if not the most perfect 2D platformer to ever have been made. It's worth any platforming fan's time. And I am hoping that many people as possible that listen to the show that are in Rhythm and Pixels chat will play this game and experience it for what it is.
Yeah, you've mentioned it.
It got me through my surgery recovery, too.
That's right. Yeah, that's why we talked about it. Hey, blood, surgery.
Bam.
Connections. If you want to support the show, you can hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, or just tell your friends. In fact, that's all you need to do. Just tell people you like. Yeah, tell people, anyone who will listen.
Share the fun, because we have fun doing the show. We hope you have fun listening to it. So if that's the case on both fronts, why not spread the love like jam on a nicely toasted slice of bread?
But if you would also like to maybe buy us some toasted bread with some jam, you can go to patreon.com.
What?
If you can support us in other ways, patreon.com/wherethemanpixels. If you donate there, you get access to a monthly live stream where we record the show
And
live.
bread.
And next time you hear it here, I'll have toast.
Delicious toast.
And you can watch us eat toast. Not on the podcast, but on the stream.
Yeah, but then we'll get crumbs everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That might not be effective.
I'll put a towel down. I know you get those weird mouth noises, so maybe I'll just cut that out. But we also like to thank each and every one of you at the end of the show. And so we'd like to thank that Nick Walker, Mike Myers, and new Patreon member Martin Argenius. Thank you so much for supporting us. Steve Miller, the Autistic Gamer 89, Cameron Worma, Christopher Senstrom, Bobby Arson of One Up Funk. Check him out on Instagram at One Up Funk. Wicked Sephiroth, OK Impala, Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast, Michael Bridgewater from the Forever Sound Version podcast, Brian Pitt, Morton Gangso, Chris Marie.
Wait, whoa, it's Murray!
Chris Murray.
There's only one way to say that.
Hey, Murray.
Hey.
Hey now.
Yeah.
I'll thank The Last Weekend, Jupiter Jazz, Solus Sanctuary, Damian Beckles, Joe Vassallo, Chris Steenerson, Alex the Messenger. Check out his Facebook group, VGM Podcast Fans, if you want to meet more podcasters, if you want to know about other podcasts, if you just want to hang out with some cool dudes, cool ladies talking about video game music.
And potato chips.
We talk about everything in that. That's a cool Facebook group. It's very positive. It's very welcoming. Check that out on Facebook. And also David Smith. David. Not Daniel.
David Smith.
David Smith. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the show.
Thanks for just being awesome people.
Yeah, we really like it. We love every one of you. I want to thank, we got an email from Brian saying, hey, great podcast, and he sent us some really nice words. Thank you so much for that email. It meant a lot to us. I will be writing you back eventually, but I thought I would just give a nice little call out at the end of a show. Maybe you might appreciate that more. I don't know.
Honestly, it may seem like we're kidding around, but I kid you not. When those emails come through,
yeah, feels great.
It could be on a weird day, like a really rough day at work, or that day where it's like, man, I've been working out and all I'm allowed to eat now is this slice of carrot. And to see these emails pop in, it feels really good. Yeah. It's a nice day flipper. So thank you very much for taking the time to reach out and write to us and just let us know your thoughts. It feels great.
Yeah, it feels good. Thanks for flipping the day for my friend.
Don't!
For flipping my friend's day. Thanks for listening to the show. Rhythm and Pixels. This has been episode World 19, episode 5. We're gaining in on World 20.
I don't think Mario's ever had a world. As you know, Super Mario 3D Land, I think, had a World 20.
I think it did too. Yeah, but like this is gonna be like more like Meat Boy, where there's like spikes everywhere.
The Dark World variants. That's all it is.
But we're gaining in on that. So anyway, thanks for listening. My name is Rob Nichols,
and I'm Pernell.
We'll see you next week.
And remember, yes, I'm going to bring it up. The premise of this episode was blood, but it was more specifically pointed to the idea of donating blood donation. They are a very, extremely important aspect of day-to-day life. More and more blood donations are becoming needed in order to handle the need as people get injured or hurt, and whether it be whatever means in which they get hurt. And donations are what allows hospitals to sustain them until they're able to mend their wounds and heal them. Fun fact, 36,000 units of red blood cells are needed every day in the United States, and 7,000 units of platelets and 10,000 units of plasma are needed daily. And for fun fact, because I've donated these, platelets take a long time to give. We're talking 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
So it's not a slow churn. And it's funny because there's a constant need for this, but there's a lot of, I guess, concern or worry about, I don't know if I want to donate blood. I'm afraid of needles. Are they profiting off of my blood? All kinds of stuff. But to me, at the end of the day, it's real simple. If you're healthy and you're able to do it, you should donate. Why? It's one of the literal easiest things you can do to help people. If you're broke, donate blood. Doesn't cost you a dime. If you're hungry, donate blood. They give you cookies when you're done. I mean, you want to meet some friendly people? Donate blood. Honestly, the orderlies that are there, the phlebotomists, I always get that word right, but phlebotomists, I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
They're very friendly, kind people.
Yeah.
And most of them, even though they do get paid, I've always come to feel as though it's more of a labor of love and like desire to help others than it is about just making a paycheck. It's just a good thing to do. Obviously, this isn't about the folks who aren't able to donate. I understand that you can. It's unfortunate. But it's more about folks who can. If you can, you should and do. The one follow-up aspect to that, don't necessarily wait for a blood draw. Why? Simple. Blood doesn't have much of a shelf life to it. So what ends up happening is you'll have these wandering periods where there's a need for blood and people aren't coming in. So then they institute a blood drive because it's meant to spark need or spark the desire to do a good thing in people. And of course, when you go to a blood drive, you show. So it's like a nice social media thing on it. But what ends up happening is they get a mass influx of donors on those days. Some of the blood doesn't get used because they don't need it right then and there. And now they're back to needing more. When if it was more scattered or scattered throughout the year, they put it to better use. So just go when you can go. Don't wait for drives.
Just know that it's needed all the time.
All the time.
Usually when there's drives, it's just to create awareness. Or there's an emergency.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can tell you honestly, I've been donating blood regularly for the last 15 years. They'll always need it. It's always appreciated. And it honestly does feel good to give. And I'm a guy who used to really be afraid of needles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the way I got over it was I decided if I don't shut up while they're taking the blood, I won't even notice it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
And that was how it worked for years. I would just go in, and the moment it gets to the point where I know they're going to eventually stick me, I look away and like, so, tell me about the last ham and cheese sandwich you ate.
Man.
How good was that?
I used to be bothered by it, but I found that if I just stare directly at it and watch the whole thing happening, it makes, like, my brain's like, oh, it's fine. I see it's happening.
But that's the thing that's interesting. Like, now I can do that.
Yeah.
But what's weird is that if I'm not looking, the pain doesn't resonate. Because, you still feel the needle when it goes in.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're just staring at it like a staring contest, it feels more real when you see it happen.
Yeah.
But if you're not even looking, it's like, whatever.
I just don't want to be surprised.
Like, wow. That's why you had that cool conversation. You're just talking about ham and cheese sandwiches.
I'm just not as cool as you.
Oh,
No, it's true. I'm not as good at conversation with you.
So tell me more about those cool shades you bought at the Walgreens.
So, phlebotomy, how did you start it?
Pretty much. Tell me more.
Did you start when you were younger? Like 6th grade, 7th grade phlebotomy?
No one started 6th, 7th grade.
No
That would
one
just give me weird, awkward glances at that point.
No one likes milk.